Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shifty's 49ers Talk. This one's going out to Niner fans, near, far, NFL fans, sports fans. You are all welcome here. Today, we are previewing the matchup between the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. This is week 18. If the Niners win, we're in the playoffs, and who knows what can happen when you get into that dance. There's a lot to talk about for this matchup, and of course, these teams play twice a year, so let's get into it. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is what happened the last time these two teams met up. So it was at Levi's Stadium, and the 49ers won 31-10. They absolutely dominated the game from start to finish. Basically, one of the Rams' first plays was an interception. Niners go down and score a touchdown, then a pick six. Basically, the whole game, the Niners were almost in complete control, which has seemingly been the case against the Rams in recent games, having a 5-game winning streak against the Rams. But here is the biggest one yet. For all the marbles for the Niners to get into the playoffs, this is the game that they really have to step up, and they cannot afford to make any crucial mistakes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about some of the keys to the game for me, for what the Niners need to do to come away with a win and get into the playoffs. So, number one, the 49ers need to pressure Matthew Stafford. We all know that Matthew Stafford is prone to not only interceptions, but pick sixes, which are just absolutely back-breaking, game-changing plays right there. So, of course, Bosa is going to be the focus, and that's what Bosa has been for, most of his career since he's entered the NFL. But if you look at the last couple of weeks, the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans have really limited Bosa on the stat sheet, but they're throwing double teams at him all game long, which is allowing some other guys to really step up and make plays. And that's what these other guys are going to need to do tomorrow against the Rams. I'm talking about Arden Key. I'm talking about Samson Ebukam, Eric Armstead, Jordan Willis, Charles Omenihu. These guys need to get after Matthew Stafford, because the Rams are not going to let Nick Bosa ruin their game plan or ruin their game. So, going to be interesting. These guys have to step up. Now, Arden Key has done a great job, especially rushing from the inside, which has been awesome to see. I think he's going to make some pretty solid money in the offseason, but it's great to see guys like Ebukam as well really stepping up, and they're going to need to. We need to get that pressure. They're going to have opportunities because, again, so much focus will be put on Bosa. Now, if we can get after Stafford, and again, I'm going to talk about this in the next point, though, about our secondary, we have a lot of guys coming back, so I think we can make some big plays, force them into bad situations, and really set us up nicely so that we can come away with the win and limit what the Rams do offensively. Number two, key to this game is going to be the 49ers secondary. The Niners secondary, for the first time, and I can't even remember how long, is essentially at full strength, with the exception of Jason Verrett, who's been out since week 1. Now, my prediction for the starters is going to be, and this is actually going to be a little bit controversial, I think, among Niner fans, but I think it's going to be Emmanuel Moseley has just been reactivated from the injured reserve, so he's going to be ready to go, which is a major boost to the secondary. But I actually think the starting corner opposite him is going to be Josh Norman, believe it or not. I think initially Kyle Shanahan and DeMeco Ryans might favor the veteran. We've seen Kyle Shanahan do this a little bit in the past, actually somewhat involving Emmanuel Moseley. If we think back to week 17 in the 2019 season at Seattle when the Niners had that big win on the last play, they actually started Ahkello Witherspoon, who was in his third year, I believe, out of Colorado, instead of Emmanuel Moseley, even though Moseley was playing better. But they actually started Witherspoon, and then when Witherspoon started to struggle a little bit, they brought in Moseley. So I think they might actually go with a similar route here, where they go with the veteran guy first in Josh Norman, and if he does make any mistakes, any defensive pass interferences or anything like that, then you pull him and you put in Ambry Thomas. That's my prediction. You know, I'm not saying that it's necessarily the right move, but I'm saying that's my prediction for what they're going to do. Of course, we're going to have K'Waun Williams in the slot, and then you're going to have Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt starting at safety. The great news, though, is that all of these guys that we're talking about, basically, we're all on the COVID list, we're all hurt or whatnot, and they've all just been reactivated, so they're all going to be ready to go. It's kind of a reason why I waited till Saturday, waited kind of late to make this video, because so many guys, there were so many moving parts that I didn't want to put out a video on Wednesday, and then by Saturday, everything's changed. But we're basically going to be at full strength. Another one player who we haven't talked about as much recently because he's been out, but who will be back, is Talanoa Hufanga. I love saying that name, first of all, but he's proven to be a really solid player for us in his rookie years. So someone who I think will be around with the 49ers for a long time. But yeah, the Niners secondary needs to step up. Of course, you know, we're going up against an offense that loves to throw the ball. They love to throw the ball a lot, and they have some real good weapons. Cooper Kupp leading the NFL in receiving yards, and lately Odell Beckham has really been stepping up in that Rams offense. So the secondary is going to have to play really well. We're going to have to be playing as a full unit, knowing when to swap the zones out and cover who and whatnot, because you know the Rams are going to throw a lot of different things at us. But so far, DeMeco Ryans has been awesome in his first year defensive coordinator. I think he'll have the guys ready, and I have a somewhat confidence that the secondary should play pretty well. Although I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they end up pulling Josh Norman and putting Ambry Thomas in. I would be pleasantly surprised if it is Moseley and Thomas who starts the game, though, just to put it out there. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see the secondary basically at full strength, and it's coming at the right time. And numero tres, we will be talking about, for the keys to this win, is going to be the 49ers run game. Elijah Mitchell, he has been a revelation as a 6th-round rookie for the 49ers. I think he actually leads all rookies in yards per game, so he's just been awesome. He brings so much to the table in terms of speed, breaking tackles, vision. It's been awesome to see his development, but he's going to have his biggest game of the year tomorrow against the Rams. One of the things that the 49ers love to do, and it's something that we did so well against the Rams when we met them earlier, was controlling the clock. That was the game where we had like multiple really long drives. The clock was winding down. The Rams just felt like they didn't have many possessions, so they had to start taking risks, some of them unnecessary risks. But if we can control the clock again, I think it really puts a lot of pressure onto the Rams to make a play. In terms of the run game, one area that I wouldn't say that I'm concerned about, but I'm, just thinking about, is the fact that, for a number of weeks in a row, Deebo Samuel was running the ball so well. Seems like defenses have been able to catch up with that a little bit. He's been slowed down by Houston, and I think Tennessee as well to some degree. So it'd be interesting to see if Kyle Shanahan's going to continue to use Deebo in the backfield. Maybe he'll look to use him more as a decoy, which could allow guys like Kittle, Mitchell, or even Jeff Wilson Jr. in run games. Maybe you do some fake the handoff to Deebo, give it to Mitchell, misdirections, things like that, so you can throw the Rams defense off. But it'll be interesting to see how much they use Deebo in the run game, just because defenses have clued in on it. But if we can control the clock, it sets us up really well, and that's honestly regardless of who plays quarterback. So it's something that's going to be a huge, huge factor for us. Can we run against the likes of Aaron Donald and Von Miller? So it'll be interesting to see. So, last but not least, the number 4 key to the game, and this is something that could basically be said for any game, but it's we cannot have the crucial big mistake, whether that's by the quarterback or by special teams. So, one of the things that we know that Jimmy Garoppolo, he's normally good for 1 or 2, like just head-scratching throws. Trey Lance is still very much looking, to develop, and he's going to make some mistakes, which is completely understandable for a rookie. But we just can't have those interceptions in the red zone, turnovers in the red zone, things of that nature. We got to play clean football. Now, the question that's going to be on everyone's mind, and it still is at this point, is who's going to start at quarterback. My gut is telling me that it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo goes out there, gives it a go, and then depending on how the offense is moving, if the run game's been effective, if he doesn't have to make a lot of big-time throws, I think they'll stick with Garoppolo. If he's struggling, if the Rams are shutting down the run game, then maybe you look to put in Trey Lance. It's going to be one of those things where, in my opinion, Garoppolo's going to be on a real short leash. Like, it could be a case of after like 2 or 3 drives, if things aren't working out, hopefully they are, but if they're not, that they go, hey, we got to get Lance in, because it's going to take Lance, again, as a rookie, and understandably so, it's going to take Lance himself maybe a couple of drives to really get into the game. Kind of like we saw against the Houston Texans. It took him the first maybe quarter and a half before Lance really got into the game, and then obviously in the second half last week he played really well. So I'd expect to see Garoppolo start, but he's going to be on a short leash. If there's any mistakes, I think Lance is going to go in and hopefully be able to take us to the promised land. At the end of the day, I don't have a preference between the two. Trey Lance is the future, and I think he's got a really bright future. Jimmy Garoppolo has done a lot of good things for the Niners over the years. I just want success for the team, however we can go about it, and really hopefully the quarterbacks play good, clean football, picking up key third downs and making the plays in the red zone when they need to be made. The other thing, too, which is going to be a quick note, is about the special teams. Now, the special teams has done better in recent weeks, but overall, hey, we got to be efficient there. We can't give up any big returns in the return game. Robbie Gould's got to be kicking field goals. Wishnowsky needs to be punting the ball well. But the biggest thing is our kick return coverage really needs to be on point. I do believe that a couple of guys who are normally on our kick returns are back now, with Hufanga coming back and Mark Nizacha, who hasn't really played much this year, has bounced around and whatnot, but he's been a key special teams player, so it's going to be good to have him back, and hopefully we can put the Rams, starting them in positions which are not ideal, within their own 20-yard line and whatnot from kickoffs. Maybe we could actually force a turnover on a kickoff return instead of giving up the ball like we've done all year long. But at the end of the day, got to play mistake-free football, and I think that will set us up really nicely with a good chance to win the game. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for my keys to the game. I just want to give you my prediction for this game. I'm going to say it's going to be a real close one. It's going to be a nail-biter. I think the 49ers do come away. I'm a very optimistic fan, but also realistic. I do think the 49ers come away with a victory. My guess and my prediction, I'm going to say, is 49ers 28, Rams 24. And it comes down to some big plays at the end that the Niners end up making just a few more bigger plays than the Rams do. And the Niners go into the playoffs. So, with the stream, so the game starts at 1:25 Pacific time tomorrow. I will be going live right around 1 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier, just so we can get that pregame chatting going and whatnot. I'm really looking forward to hopefully another just awesome, fun stream. It's going to be a really good time. I'm going to be going crazy. I'm going to be rocking the white George Kittle jersey, which is going to be a whole lot of fun, and I can't wait to see all of you guys there. Feel free on this video to like. If you're a first-time viewer, please subscribe to the channel because it really helps out. And really, guys, at this point, all I can say is I'll see you tomorrow, and gonna catch you on the flip side.